When you were young, did your dad ever put water in the ketchup bottle instead of throwing it away just to make it last a little bit longer? That's kind of how I felt reading this week's comics. Howdy, howdy, American Texan here, and I like to read comic books and talk about the comic stories and the art and everything happening inside there. We'll let everyone else deal with the drama and the stupid things that people are saying on X and Blue Sky. We'll just talk about the stories. And in this week, we got just a few Marvel books. It's the end of the year, December 31st, New Year's Eve, and I went to my comic shop on Friday, the New Year, and I only had a few books. In fact, we were joking, it's the record lowest pull week it's ever been for me. I did have a few more books to finish out some series that I've been putting off, so I did read 6 issues even though I pulled only 3, and I'll speak to those in just a minute. But if you want to hear more about comic books and see what's worth reading and nerd out with some other readers, by all means, let's do that in the comments. Subscribe for more videos. I do a weekly pull list where I talk about the books that I pulled as well as some cool consignment finds. I also talk Big 2 and the indies and crowd funds that come out as well. So like I said, only 3 books, which we'll get into, but the big book for the week I did not pull. That is the Ultimates. There was also an X-Men finale. Look, I don't read X-Men. There's just way too many things going on. I do like Wolverine. There's a few other X-Men that I would enjoy reading, but ultimately there's just way too much going on. A lot of stuff that I just don't know about, and so when I read it, I feel lost. I try every once in a while, but it's just not my thing. Additionally, Ultimates Endgame came out, and I tried to give Ultimates a fair shot. I was constantly cool, warm, and eventually I just gave up on it because I just could not care for the Ultimates. And then Dennis Camp came out with the Ultimates Incursion, and I did not like that at all. So I gave up on Dennis Camp, all respect. I love his Absolute Martian Manhunter. I'm sure his Assorted Crisis is good too, but when he's writing the Ultimates, I'm just not in on it. So I did not pull or read the Ultimates. So let's go over to the table and talk about what I did read this week. Just a handful of books that came in, but I did finish a few series that I fell behind on, and it was the last issue, and I just kept putting them off. So I did finish Crypto. I enjoyed this one. I know not a lot of people like Ryan North, but I enjoyed this one. It's a good dog story. It's cute. It's feel good. Although the last issue was not so feel good, it does end on a feel good. I actually recommend, if you like a good dog story, you like Crypto from the movie, I think you'll enjoy Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton. I also finished Jeff the Land Shark. Huge pass for me. I don't even know if I'm going to save it for my kids. It's cute, but unless you know a lot about all these characters, if you know who Scarlet Witch is, you know who Elsa Bloodstone is, Doctor Strange, then you might enjoy it. But I think for kids coming in, way too many characters, kind of a miss on that one. And then I also finished New History of the DC Universe. Love the Samney cover here. I enjoyed it. I liked it, having all the pieces together. It is essentially an illustrated Comics Explained video. But for what it is, I enjoyed it. You might like the trade better, but I like having all these covers here. So that was an interesting read to finish as well. All right, going on to this week's reads. I only have 3, but you know what? Honestly, I liked them all. So good week for Marvel. First up, we got The World to Come from Quesada and Priest, and this is issue 5. And this looked beautiful. We got more really, really great art here. I'm enjoying this art style. It takes me back to kind of when I started reading comics in the mid-2010s. Very dramatic, very high contrast. A lot of dialogue here, so this one is a little bit more of a setup, but we find out that the heroes are gone, and Katima, the new Black Panther, set up one of those broken window fallacies, right? He messes up the world so he can save it, and this is basically how he becomes a one-world empire. And he does it without magic, unlike Doom and One World Under Doom. And we get a little bit of a setup here. I like pages like this. This was beautiful. The art was really unsettling here. It's very interesting, kind of the awkwardness he has with his aunt, and I'll just leave it at that. And then you find out that T'Challa is basically putting together a team of superheroes to take on Katima. So I thought it was an interesting read. This was more of a setup, I think, to go into the next issue, but still a good read overall. Next up, we got Marvel Zombies. It's Growing on Me. This is by Ethan S. Parker Sheridan and art by Balzadua. I think it's John Balzadua. This is Marvel Zombies issue 4. I did not care for this intro here. We didn't need Deadpool being too Deadpool. But once we get past that, it's interesting. The only thing that's a turn off here for me is a lot of this art. I think the writing is interesting enough. It's a popcorn comic, just turn your brain off and enjoy. The art is just a little too needlessly goopy is the only way I can describe it. They try to be Red Band with the violence and the gore, But then you get panels like this and it's just a red mess. It's not really gore, it's just random red goop. And it just needs more detail and more something here. I'm not a fan of horror or body horror or gore or anything like that. But then I just see this and it's not doing it, right? It's just a little, I don't call it lazy. It's just not the right way to do it. And then we get the new Avengers here. I don't know who the female Iron Fist is, but we get Black Panther, Wolverine, Magic, and Doctor Strange teaming up with Black Suit Spider-Man and Jewel. And then we get the Civil War part of it. So we find out that the Infinity Gauntlet from last one, these gems are split between Captain America and Iron Man. So the zombies are having their own civil war, which allows the heroes to basically start to make a plan to figure out what to do, I guess, for the remaining of the series. So overall, art aside, I know I had a lot of criticisms. I still enjoyed it. It's turn off your mind and enjoy. And sometimes that's just what you want. So Marvel Zombies, not the best, but also not the worst. Still good for Marvel. And I still enjoyed it. Final book of the week and a huge recommend, The Punisher, a Red Band, #4 by Benjamin Percy and Julius Ota. And a more gorgeous art, a lot of gore here. I love this 2-page panel. Now, this issue is kind of a lot of talking, a little bit more setup, but the tension is building, right? They have the introduction with the news program saying that Frank Castle's basically back and the heroes are feeling it. I just like that. It's like his presence sends earthquakes. Then this crazy action moment where he puts a bomb on the EMS unit to try to get them to take out his brain implant. And that's just like super violent for the Punisher. But I think at the same time, he's he's kind of cornered, right? He's like the wounded animal being cornered. So he kind of does things that might not be himself. So that was kind of an interesting little moment there. And then jumping forward, we get a lot of this art here. He's goring a pig. That's a pig, not a human. And Tombstone is kind of setting things up as the big bad guy. He is just terrifying here. And not too much Kingpin in this one, but he basically getting closer to Tombstone. And I realized that no matter when you strip everything away from the Punisher, this really is the Punisher being the Punisher. The story, I think, is that Frank can only do one thing, and that's hunt bad guys. So he's mind wiped, he's mind controlled, but even when he gets rid of that, he still has one thing on his mind, and that's vengeance. So I'm enjoying it. I thought this was still a great issue. Not the strongest of the series, but still a great issue. So not really a fair week to do top threes, but this is my top 3. Marvel, because it was Marvel only, no DCs on my list. I don't even know if DCs came out this week. We've got The World to Come, Marvel Zombies 4, The World to Come 5, and Punisher Red Band #4. So there you have it. Not too much this week, but I appreciate you watching. If you read these books and you want to talk about it in the comments, by all means, let's do that. Let's nerd out together and share and enjoy our favorite hobby. Thank you guys for watching. Your time and attention mean the world to me. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Adios.